How's it going, everyone? Reckless Yuki here, and in today's video I'd like to talk about my general opinions and experience with the Xbox One on launch day and do some comparison as far as what I think of the Xbox One compared to the PS4, and possibly maybe you guys will have an idea for yourself what you would rather have if you could only choose either the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. And also in the future I might do an actual no crap review as far as like sit down and talk about each one more in depth maybe, or go over the features as far as titling a video, which one you should get. But as far as today though, I would like to just focus on the Xbox One and just my general thoughts and opinions and overall thoughts on the system itself as far as what I like, what I don't like. And from the thumbnail, you probably saw that I had 3 Xbox One launch day editions, and that's not because I'm a huge fan of Xbox, or at least not a huge fan of the Xbox One. It's just mainly because they were a launch day. I thought I would be able to capitalize on the fact that a lot of people might not pre-order these, so that I was able to mark them up and resell them. But that wasn't really the case because the hype of the Xbox One isn't as high as the PlayStation 4, so those are kind of going back to the store to refund my money. But anyways, I was really dedicated into the Xbox One because of the success of the Xbox 360. Xbox 360 beat out the PlayStation 3 in my humble opinion as far as the last gen console wars, but it might be this time that they, turned it around. So who knows how it's going to play out in the future. The PlayStation 4 has the stronger system. The Xbox One has the more secure network. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to always be like that. PlayStation could easily, well, not easily, but they could upgrade their systems to surpass or be at the equal level of the Xbox One. And then the Xbox One is still left with their hardware components that they've chosen for this generation. And you probably are thinking that this is a long-ass screen just to be showing the Xbox One title. And that's because this is the screen that I was looking at when I first turned on my Xbox One after the initial update. And for a second, I thought my Xbox One was frozen. Like, I was staring at this for a good while. As long as you guys are looking at this, I didn't, cut or edit or just show you guys a freeze frame. This is the first couple minutes of my footage. And you've seen that was about 2 minutes of looking at that screen. So that was a little bit of a shaky start, but that's okay. I was able to go through the rest of the setup process. So my Xbox One wasn't malfunctioning. It was perfectly fine. That's not what some people could say, but I was fortunate enough to receive a good Xbox One. Now, just to throw this in there, I'm not a fan of the Kinect mic. I was definitely not a fan of the Kinect for the Xbox 360, so I'm not really confident that the Kinect 2.0 will be something worthwhile having, but it's forced on us anyway, so whatever, F it. I'll have it hooked up and I'll use it for the time being. But there is one thing that I really do love about the new Kinect, and that's this feature I'm showing you on the screen, where instead of having to punch in the 16-digit freaking codes for everything, you can just hold up that little card with the scan bar, whatever the hell that picture is, and just have it scan all the codes scanned in this way. So this really, I don't know, I love the Kinect for this feature alone, but it's still a creepy monitoring device, and I'm not too comfortable with it yet, so I still have a towel over it. But this is still pretty cool, I have to say. Now, after about 2 to 3 hours after messing with my audio and visual settings to make sure that my Elgato will be recording correctly, and also downloading and installing all the games that I bought, which is obviously Call of Duty Ghosts, because that's what you're seeing on the screen right now, as well as Forza 5, Killer Instinct, and Ryse, which is, I guess, a Roman game where it almost reminds me of that movie Gladiator. Now, we'll be talking about those games in a little bit after this match. And this match that I'm showing you guys is the first real complete match I was able to play when I first logged into Call of Duty Ghosts on the Xbox One. And this, I have to say, is a major plus compared to the PlayStation 4, because I was actually able to log into Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer and play online against other people, which I couldn't on the PlayStation 4 on their launch day due to their security or due to their network crashing. So the Xbox One does have a stronger network. Now, as far as lag or this and that, not too sure about that. It's kind of hard to get a feel for this game because the controller, I'm not used to it. And you're kind of thinking to me like, why? It's just the same controller for the most part. The major difference for me is that I always played on a SCUF controller where not using the back paddles isn't too big of a deal for me. I'm fine with that. But the fact that the analog sticks are smaller than the previous gen I can't fit my control freak on the analog stick, so for me to aim is very tough. So you're going to kind of watch me play very cautiously because I can't just run around like an idiot like I usually do and snap on targets like I usually am able to. I have to play a more cautious route to make sure that I just don't get absolutely annihilated, because my aiming is definitely not as good as it usually is. Well, actually, it's never really good, but it's definitely hindered now than it was before. Now, my overall thoughts on the controller, as far as the controller for Call of Duty, I didn't like it very much, but I think that's mainly due to change, and usually when you're forced change, it's not something that you accept easily. So the Xbox One controller wasn't an accepted change for me, because I would love to have used this regular Xbox 360 controller, especially for Call of Duty Ghost. Like, just use the Xbox 360 controller for Ghost, and then for any other game that the Xbox One would have, then sure, I'll use their controller, because I'll talk about some things I liked about the controller for Forza 5. But for Ghost, I hate the damn thing. I don't know, like, it's just like the controller looks a lot more mature, and the way you hold it in your hand, I like it better than the previous gen. But the previous gen, I like the triggers better, I like the sticks better, I like the fact that I had a SCUF controller, so I don't want to lose my SCUF controller just because I upgraded my system, but I'm forced to. And that's okay, because everyone else who possibly did play with a SCUF also lost theirs. But then that was also kind of a boost for anyone who's never played with a SCUF, because then we're kind of on the same playing field once again. So until SCUF comes out with a new SCUF controller, it'll be like that for a while, I guess. As far as the graphics with the Xbox One compared to the PlayStation 4, now I'm sure all of you know that the PlayStation 4 is advertised as a true 1080p game on the PlayStation 4, but it's only 720p on the Xbox One, which is kind of a bummer, especially, I mean, you guys heard it over and over again, everyone complaining about it. But for me, when I first logged in and started running around, I guess maybe I don't watch the details very much. When I'm in a game of Call of Duty, I'm just running, not really looking at anything as far as, like, I don't know, like the scenery or anything. I just want to know that that's an enemy, not just some blurry blob next to another blurry blob. As long as it's a defined enemy and I can see it, I'm happy. And I was able to see enemies clearly in the Xbox One. Now, the Xbox 360, though, is what I usually used to play on. When I went back to that, trying to play that after playing the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One for however long now, it doesn't look good anymore. Like, when ignorance is bliss is what I have to say. So when you don't know, you're perfectly happy and you're fine. But then when you make the jump over and then you try to go back, it's just like, what the hell is this? I can't play on this shit, is what I keep saying. So a lot of my friends are on the Xbox 360, but I have the shiny new system, so I don't really want to take a step back and play on that. But then as far as just for this video, as far as the Xbox One, the graphics look great. I mean, I'm going to be going over and like doing screenshots between the Xbox One, the PS4, the Xbox 360, and hell, even the Wii U, just to do a full, complete comparison video very shortly, or at least after I'm done making this commentary. That's what I'll be working on. But I didn't really notice too much of a difference with the Xbox One and the PS4. Like, actually, I really didn't notice a difference at all. I didn't pop this game in and just, I didn't feel disgusted in any way. So, maybe to some people, it's a huge difference. Some people might have better eyes than me, but me personally, it didn't really affect my gaming experience. Well, at least not as much as not having a control freak did. Now, I'd like to change up the flow of this commentary a little bit and go over some gripes I have with the Xbox One, mainly due to the cost of the system. And I'm not just talking about the lower spec forced camera option that costs an extra $100 that the Xbox One forced on us, compared to the the higher spec, no camera, $100 less option of the PlayStation 4, which everyone knows about. All the PlayStation guys use this as a advantage or as a point in arguments to go up against the Xbox guys, which is a valid point, a valid statement for an argument. I can't really deny that. But it was mainly the little things I noticed when comparing the Xbox One to my PlayStation 4 experience, like the controller. Now, I've been going over how the controller is, a little bit different. There's some, improvements, I guess, with it, but then there's some just personal flaws I have with the controller, and that will be corrected soon enough. But the cost of the controller kind of took me off a little bit when I started comparing the controllers together, just looking at the features and what they're able to do for the cost. Now, they're both $60. Yet the PlayStation 4 offers, real next-gen ideas that will possibly improve gaming for the future years to come, whereas the Xbox One is just the same controller. They just made it look different, and I guess they improved things like the D-pad, but I don't care about the damn D-pad. I never use this stupid thing, so it didn't really affect me. Just like the PlayStation 4, let's talk about that. It has the touchpad and the fancy light bar to mess with the camera if you do choose to buy their camera, which is fine. That's really cool for $60, but then it also includes a rechargeable battery in the back, as well as a charge cable, so you can use it and play it with the PlayStation 4, whereas the Xbox One forces you to have to spend an extra $15, so not even $60 anymore, but $75 for their charge and play combo kit, just to have a rechargeable battery and a cable to plug into the system so you could charge and play at the same time. So the fact that, if we're looking at it now, the price points, you're paying an extra $15 for almost an Xbox One equivalent of the PlayStation 4, yet you still don't have fancy new features like, the touchpad and stupid light bar thing. So at GameStop, at Best Buy, at the Microsoft Store, I started noticing how much of an impact the cost of the system is compared to the PlayStation 4. And then also when I finally logged into the network of the Xbox and kind of took a look around, I noticed they didn't really have many free games. I mean, I was able to download Killer Instinct for free, which sure, that's fine. I got a demo version basically of Killer Instinct for free, but if I actually want the full version, I'll have to pay an extra $40 to actually unlock all the characters, where with Killer Instinct, I only had one character when I first logged in. So the support of the PlayStation community for gamers, I feel, is a stronger one, where the Xbox seems to just enjoy bending people over and just taking their money while they're having their way with us. I mean, that is a slightly graphic image, and I'm sorry for that, but that's my honest opinions as far as how I feel the Xbox response to its gamers is compared to PlayStation 4. And, a lot of people could also throw in there the fact that, oh, well, Xbox was going to have all that DRM stuff, but they changed their minds after the revolt of the gamers, which, I mean, that's true and all, but PlayStation 4 is no saint when it comes to that aspect. They were just on the kind of watching how the Xbox was received as far as when they dropped their news, because the PlayStation 4 was going to have all the same stuff, but then they backed out and used that as a marketing for them, which freaking worked because it was a genius plan to really, discredit the Xbox as far as for the gaming community by using that against them. So, but not only that, just the cost, like I said, of the system and how there isn't, the free stuff. Like, everyone loves the free stuff, and the Xbox One doesn't really provide it as well as the PlayStation 4. Now, there could be people that will argue, well, the Xbox One network is better, which is true. The Xbox One network, I feel, is stronger, and the fact that it has the dedicated cloud servers is a huge plus when gaming, especially in games like Call of Duty. But PlayStation 4 can eventually upgrade their system to match the Xbox One or surpass it, like I said in the beginning of the video. So having that as an argument alone isn't enough to justify the Xbox One over the PlayStation 4. Maybe now, but it won't be enough as far as in the long run of things. And as you see here, that was the last kill of the game, but I get killed immediately after, and that's all right. 72 to 53. At least we won this game. I'm happy about that. Even though it was a long, slow, grinding game, we still won, and I went 28 to 7, so not a bad start to Call of Duty on the Xbox One. Now, moving over to some Killer Instinct, since I've been talking about that towards the end of the Call of Duty gameplay. So Killer Instinct, it's a freaking awesome game. It's decently fun. But I think the reason why I say it's decently fun is because I didn't pay a full price for it. I didn't pay $60 for however much the Xbox One games are going for at this moment. So the fact that I got it for free just to play 2 characters, it's okay. It is a lot of fun for that, but if I was to pay actual, like, the full amount, a retail amount for this game, I might not be so much of a fan for it. But it is there just to change things up if I ever get bored of shooting in Call of Duty or Battlefield or racing in Forza. There is this game, so it's a nice, I guess, transition to different things, or something just to, mash buttons with. And that's one thing with this game. It's definitely not Street Fighter. It doesn't reward skill players. It seems to really reward people who know how to button mash. and anyone who button mashes can get high, combos, which I'm showing you now. I don't know anything. All I know is those basic moves I knew from Street Fighter, so I'm applying them with this character, which it seems he's somewhat similar to Ryu, so I'm able to pull off maneuvers like I'm showing you in the gameplay. But that's all I'm going to say about Killer Instinct. It's fun, but I'm not sure how fun it is if I actually had to pay for it. So moving on to a real title for the Xbox One, Forza 5. Now, Forza is a gaming franchise I've been sticking with ever since the first Forza game came out for the regular Xbox, the original one. And it's a racing game I've always progressed through. I've bought Forza 1, Forza 2, Forza 3, Forza 4, even that stupid Forza Horizon game. I bought each one because every time they seem to do something that improves the game, and I really like it for that. Forza, especially now since they've partnered with Top Gear, the British version, I get to hear Jeremy Clarkson commentate and tell me things as far as how the game is, especially his beginning speeches in the game intro where he talks about Forza is where dreams are driven, which I would say is most true because a lot of the cars I'm using in this game I'll never be able to afford. I mean, I could hope I could afford them, but most likely I will never afford them, and I could drive them like an idiot, crash them in walls and stuff, and I won't have a care in the world. So I really enjoy Forza for that aspect. Now you could say that the Gran Turismo is the same thing, but for me, I guess it's just where you came from, and since I never owned a PlayStation 1, I've always owned an Xbox and been in the Xbox side of things. I tried the PlayStation 3, but it broke on me twice, so Gran Turismo is something that just didn't hit home with me. Now, even like I played Gran Turismo 5, and I like the feel of Forza a lot more, and the graphics in this game are just amazing. It's truly next gen. This is truly what the next gen is supposed to look like as far as racing games, I feel. Now, I haven't tried Drive Club for the PS4, but Forza to me is more than enough, and I don't think I'll ever venture away from Forza. Now, one thing I talked about like before as far as the controller with Forza, one thing I do like about the new controller with Forza is the new kind of rumble features, or at least the rumble feedback it seems to give you. As I'm pulling down the accelerator on the trigger finger, it kind of like as the car is about to lose control, it tells me that it is, because I can kind of feel the car, how it's handling through the trigger finger. So whenever I'm pulling it down too hard, I notice that it starts rumbling and then the car starts to slide, whereas if I let off on it a bit, I'm able to keep the line that I was trying to. Now, this game is still decently hard for me. I'm not used to it yet, but that feature with the controller is a huge improvement for me, and I really do like the controller for that feature alone. Now, of course, if you want a real driving experience, you would get, or you would invest in a whole driving cockpit with a driving steering wheel, clutch, and all this stuff that might cost about $1,000. But for just the regular at-home gamer like me, when it comes to these racing games, the controller was a nice, I guess, upgrade from the previous gen as far as the ability to get the feedback that I was able to get. And finally, to finish up this video, if you guys are still watching, is Ryse Son of Rome. And Ryse Son of Rome is a next-gen title. It's an Xbox One exclusive, and I bought it for the fact that it was an Xbox One exclusive, and I wanted to kind of just get something else to compare what the abilities of the Xbox One are. But this game is not really that much fun to me. It's kind of boring. I mean, the aspect that you're this awesome Roman soldier and you're about to, like just fight and do all these things to control armies, that's freaking cool. But just these beginning levels is really boring. And if a game doesn't really capture my interest from the beginning, it's really hard for me to play it through. So Ryse Son of Rome didn't really do that for me. It didn't really want me to play it any further. And then the controls when I'm moving around trying to collect things, it's just like, it doesn't seem like it's very polished yet. It seemed like it was kind of rushed due to the fact that the Xbox One was launching and that this was going to be the launch title for it. So it seems like the game was a little bit rushed. Now the graphics, it's very beautiful, it's nice to look at, but just the controls of the game is a little off. Now the combat though, the combat is just like basically button mash, or I guess coordinated button mashing, where you kind of have to know which one of the 4 major buttons does what, so you could properly combat multiple enemies without getting killed constantly. But other than that, the game seems decently generic with its control scheme. And then just the fact that the controls and the interacting with the environment seems to be a little bit off and is kind of slow paced. So for that, not really that much of a great game for me personally. Some people might, disagree. Some people might love it, but as it stands right now, I do not. I might give it a chance in the future, but not so much now. I have plenty of other games to enjoy, so I don't need to force myself to play this. But that's it for my day one experience with the Xbox One. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be uploading a video hopefully sometime soon once I finish capturing the footage of the Call of Duty Ghosts on all platforms, just to kind of go over the graphical differences, just to see what you're getting and if there's anything that you need to be concerned with as far as, just how the systems look, I guess, in general. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys again next time.